Large language models, and specifically ChatGPT, have been utilized a lot over the past few months for generating different content on the internet. So it could be the script of the video that you're watching right now, or it could be the description of a job posting on LinkedIn. Although it has many advantages, like telling you what the template for that specific content should be, you should be really aware of the stylistic sense of ChatGPT and other large language models. I've recently specifically noticed a lot of videos generated and put on YouTube are potentially using ChatGPT to generate their titles. And the titles have the specific structure and words that kind of give away the fact that they've been generated by ChatGPT. So let's generate 10 titles. So 10 titles for a YouTube video on the role of AI in business. So now what you'll notice is, first and foremost, ChatGPT uses this colon separated titles. So whenever it generates a title, it's going to be colon separated. Although it's common in some specific domains, like academic papers, to use these types of titles. On YouTube, for YouTube videos, or if you want to have a seminar, the title of your seminar, it's really unorthodox and unconventional to have colon separated titles. So that's the first giveaway. That's the first thing that makes people suspect is your video title generated by ChatGPT. Secondly, ChatGPT uses a specific jargon. So words like navigating, revolutionizing. This is another giveaway. So AI unleashed, unlocking growth. These are another types of words that ChatGPT loves to use, but in real life, the use case is limited as well. So whenever you see a title in this kind of structure using these words, that's another telltale sign of ChatGPT. This problem doesn't go away if you ask for more, so 10 more titles. Again, colon separated. Embracing is another word. Demystifying is another word that ChatGPT uses. So why should you worry about this? Well, if you are in the business of advertising or creating content, which is similar to advertising, titles are one of the most important aspects of what you do. For the longest time, titles have been a tool to grab the attention of your target audience after the first glance, make them want to click on your content. And if you use unoriginal stuff from a large language model like ChatGPT, you're losing the advantage that the title can have in your business or application. And since these days, most companies, most YouTube channels, most LinkedIn posts use ChatGPT to generate the titles, everybody's now on the same level, so nobody stands out. You can use it to your advantage though. If you come up with your own title, let's say if you want to create a YouTube video on the role of AI in business, you come up with a really simple title, potentially something that doesn't use a colon separated format, you'll set yourself apart. You become different. Among the hundreds of videos on the same topic, your title will stand out. And that's where your edge lies. If you're already using ChatGPT to generate the titles or descriptions, you're losing a massive opportunity. ChatGPT telltale signs do not stop here. So even if I ask it for a description for the video, long form text that ChatGPT generates also contain words and phrases that would kind of give away the fact that you're using ChatGPT. One of these words that I personally noticed, and also some other people who I discussed it with noticed, is tapestry. So it's really likely that ChatGPT will use tapestry in your sentence structure. Tapestry, as an English word, has relatively low usage compared to other similar words. If you go on Google and click on tapestry definition, you can basically from Google Books get a chart for the usage of the word. It's a really uncommon word in English. In the 1800s, the usage was relatively high. it dropped massively in the 20th century and the 21st century. Even though it picked up a bit up to 2019, it's really uncommon. I suspect since 2022, since ChatGPT, the usage of the word has increased because people use ChatGPT to generate content or maybe even write books. So probably in a couple of years, if you come back, it's gonna spike significantly. Generating content using ChatGPT is really obvious because at the end of the day, ChatGPT, just like any other human being, has its own style. You can ask it to take on a specific persona, which might kind of change and make the persona in the generated content a bit more distinguished and a bit more different. But if you have a PhD in literature or linguistics, you can read this description, you can read this long form text and tell that, oh, this is written by one person. If you independently create another description for another video, a linguist will look at it and say, well, yes, it's written by the same person. So what is the implication of this? First off, you might think 10 titles for a YouTube video might be different if you use GPT-4 because GPT-4 is bigger, it uses more parameters, is more powerful. Let's see. So 10 suggestions from GPT-4 for a video on the role of AI in business. Again, you see revolutionizing, navigating. So the same telltale words that GPT 3.5 generates, such as unlocking, demystifying, you're gonna see with GPT-4. So let's say another person comes in, maybe your competitor wants to generate YouTube titles, they would pretty much get the same title as you did. AI unveiled, revolution, navigating. At the end of the video, I'll show you a way to get kind of a more creative title for your videos using another LLM, and I'll show you how. But for now, just use large language models for generating content, specifically titles, with extreme caution. Another issue with large language models, a lot of people use it to send emails, send social media messages, especially cold messages when you don't know someone on LinkedIn and you want to send them a message asking for jobs, cooperation, etc. And I receive a lot of them, tens of them on a daily basis. And it's really easy to tell if that email or that message has been generated using ChatGPT. So let me create a new instance. I'm using ChatGPT 3.5 just because it's faster. And I'm going to ask it to generate an email to my employer telling them I'm sick this week. So like a simple email that you might send. So the first thing you notice is that it is too long. If you want to take a sick leave, you won't write 5 paragraphs. Not only that, but also sentences are too long as well. This is to inform you, not be able to. You can find a quick fix for this by asking it to make shorter sentences. So use shorter sentences to make it be brief and to the point. This is much better now. I hope you're well. I won't be able to work this week. My doctor advised me. Sorry for the inconvenience. This sounds like more like a human being sending an email compared to the original email. So this is a quick fix. Ask it to use shorter sentences, or you can even ask it to be more conversational. So even though this is fun on your part to send an email or a message that uses literary words, some fancy complex sentences, it's really uncommon for human beings on a daily basis when they have a conversation to talk this way. I've heard people say, well, even if I use ChatGPT for my emails, their daily day-to-day emails, my employer is not really technically savvy, so they don't know what ChatGPT is. That might be true, but even if that is true, you should imagine that your employer or someone that you're contacting on LinkedIn is receiving tens or even hundreds of messages on a daily basis. So even though they don't know this is generated by a robot, they can tell that the style and the register of these emails are pretty similar, and they might suspect that the same person is basically writing the same thing, or the same agent is doing the same thing, and that's basically what bots are. So they might not take your email that seriously, even if they're not aware of ChatGPT. So that's something that could really hurt your success on the job market, on your daily communications, on your personal communications if you use ChatGPT. So I told you we can have a workaround for the issue of generating titles, and that is using a different large language model, which is trained on a different data set. So one of them is Llama 2. We can use it and access it from llama2.ai. If you click on settings, you have access to different models. By default, it's using Llama 270 billion, which is the biggest one. So let me ask it to generate 10 titles for a YouTube video. Let's be consistent on the role of AI on society. So even though some of the titles might be similar to ChatGPT's, specifically the style, which is colon separated, or the word revolution, again, is similar to the vocabulary of ChatGPT, but it is a bit different in some senses. It uses less assertive, less strong words compared to ChatGPT, and I believe this is because of the different data set that they're using. ChatGPT also is really primed and encouraged to use strong words, literary words, in part because of the reinforcement learning using human feedback. Humans would incentivize it to use kind of more sophisticated words or stronger words. That's why it's generating titles that have unlock the future, unveil, demystify. But to summarize what I've tried to say here, titles for your videos or for content on social media, if you have a seminar, conference coming up and you want to generate a title for that, if you use ChatGPT, yes, it's going to give you a fancy sort of title like the AI paradox, how machines are both helping and hurting us. But in many ways, this is obviously generated by a large language model. If you take the time, which is to create a title for your specific topic yourself, you're going to set yourself apart from the competition. You're going to sound original and you'll stand out compared to most people who actually use ChatGPT and just copy paste this into their content. Llama 2 could be a good alternative to ChatGPT because it tends to use a different set of words and it has a different style, but still you can tell that this style is computer generated and not original. In other words, you can think of this video as a continuation of my previous video. Is large language model going to replace programmers? You can retitle this video as, is large language model replacing writing? The answer is no. Even though you can use LLMs to give you the template for the thing you're about to write, it's not replacing writing itself. If everybody uses LLMs to generate blog posts, create scripts for YouTube videos, or writing emails, everything is going to look identical at the highest level. There's not going to be any creativity or stylistic nuance, and the content would be bland. In that scenario, if you write your own material, you're gonna massively stand out from the crowd which uses large language models. So there's massive opportunity even in writing, just like programming.